Hello everyone, how's it going? So we're talking about Highguard again. Now, I've played 10 plus hours of the game and I did a review about it, but they released a 5 versus 5 experimental raid mode and I decided to reinstall the game and give it a second shot because why the hell not? I hate myself so much I'm willing to put myself through this horrible game. Again, I shouldn't say horrible, but painfully mediocre game, let's put that. And yeah, it's a mode, and unfortunately every single issue that I said in that previous video, I rewatched it, is still present here. So the new experimental raid mode adds 2 additional players, so it's 5 versus 5, and I'll give them credit. They listened to the feedback and they tried to fix it. The problem is that the core system of this entire game is still flawed. It's like when you put new tires on a car that's over 30 years old. The tires are nice, but it's still on a very crappy car that's aged past its prime. Now, this game has only been out a week. It's seen a surge of player accounts on Steam, and if we're being very generous, let's say 40k across all platforms. But this is the weekend. This is when people are going to try out the game, and mostly the reason they're going to try out this game is because Jeff Keighley, who is the host of the Game Awards, whose word carries a lot of weight within gaming, promoted the hell out of this game. So that's the reason this game hits 97k. I think a lot of people would agree on that. And since then, he's still been promoting the game, and it hasn't been good. I think his credibility has been shot a lot when it came to this title, especially among casual gamers, because you can even see it in the Steam reviews where people are saying, "You lied to me, Jeff." But replaying this, it's the same gameplay loop. The same criticisms I had are still present here, and really nothing has changed. You just have more people to shoot at. You still have the first part of the map where you're gathering crystals and gathering resources. I didn't run into an issue where I was competing with my team because I knew exactly where to go to avoid them in order to get what I needed. So there is that, but I did hear on the mic there are people who are fighting among each other saying, "That's my crystal," and a lot of other colorful language. But I didn't really run into too much of that, but the same gameplay loop is still here, and it's still the same situation. You still gather the resources, you get the shield breaker, you hit the siege point, and then you do the raid and restart the process. It's still the same gameplay loop. Nothing has changed, only there are 2 extra players, and they still haven't fixed the technical issues for the game. There are still problems with the internet connection. People are getting disconnected left and right. There is issues such as this where, just look at this and explain this to me. I have a pretty good internet connection. This shouldn't be happening, but for some reason this is happening. Another issue, I don't know if everyone else is going through this, is that I would turn crossplay off, but the game would automatically turn it back on. So I don't know if anyone else is dealing with that situation, but for me it kept turning it back on. So maybe there was just so little players on Xbox. And just to put this into perspective, if you look at some achievements on this game, especially the most baseline achievements like completing 5 matches with a certain warden, which is the heroes in this game, it's still pretty rare. Like less than 5% of people have even won 20 matches. So yeah, there is a very large achievement gap there. But the game basically is just the same. Like, all of it, all the issues, this is not going to fix it. The 5 versus 5 thing, it's a nice change, but I really didn't see any radical difference when it came to the gameplay loop. It's still the same game. And if you weren't hooked with the game during the first match, which, by the way, a lot of people quit before even finishing their first match, and if I give them the largest benefit of the doubt and say a lot of the teammates that I played with just quit because of frustration, or the enemy team, because I did run into matches where there were only 2 players that I saw, and I was like, where's the rest of the team? And I just assumed they quit, and these 2 players were just playing out the match, which makes no sense, because after a minute and a half, you can actually leave a match with no penalties, but there are some players who are like that, who just finished the entire match. Either way, it just seems that every single issue is still present here. I'm surprised they still didn't add a team deathmatch. Like, considering how much they put this together, I don't know if it was really that complicated. They just have to add 2 more player slots. But this game, like a lot of other people argued, it would have worked very well with team deathmatch, at least add some variety to it. But either way, I think this game is cooked, because if this game has like a player count of 15k, let's say, being generous here, I think it's at 14k on Steam during this weekend, and that's all they can pull after having a peak of 97,000, that's not looking good, because this game needs players in order to stay alive. And if this is the first weekend, which you're going to get the most amount of players, the next weekend it's not really going to do well because you're just going to bleed even more goodwill. I did see that there were players like streamers like Tim the Tapman and Shroud who were defending the game, but it's what like Ned Stark stated. Anything that comes after the word but, anything before the word but is immediately negated. It doesn't matter. And anytime I heard them speak about it, it was always followed by a but, and that but that came after that carries a lot of weight was just them complaining about the same thing everyone else was complaining about. And let's face it, a lot of players do not play like them. They're not pro players who are in every stimulant or bunny hopping everywhere, crouching everywhere, doing Call of Duty slides. A lot of players, the reason they went to Battlefield 6 is because they were sick of that type of gameplay. And in this, it's still present here, and I feel like a lot of players, once they start seeing that, are just like, yeah, I'm done. Because I saw it a lot, and I did it, I'm not going to lie, because you need that to remain alive, or you're going to get completely decimated. I can see players just leaving because of that. They don't want to deal with this crap, and I can't blame them. But overall, I think Highguard at this point is cooked. I don't think anything is really going to save it. Is it as bad as Concord? I've only played like 2-3 matches of Concord, and that was during the open beta. It's better than Concord for whatever that means, and the launch is better than Concord, but that was a premium title. This is free to play. Anyone can literally download it and just play it for themselves if they can even get into a match, given they still haven't fixed the technical issues during their first weekend, which is one of the biggest weekends. The first weekend is always the biggest weekend for any free-to-play game, but, you know, maybe they're just literally just, it's like the SpongeBob meme where everyone is on fire and they're just trying to put it out as much as they can. Either way, does the game deserve the hate that it's getting? I don't think so, but this is not going to save it. It's literally done, and I think this is the end of it. So if you want to get all the achievements, you should do it now, but it's much harder than it was before, because now you're playing against players who are either pre-made or just very good at the game, because everyone else who played it casually has basically just gone and left. And unfortunately, they also still didn't add a solo queue option, so the chances of you going against pre-made players is very high. On top of it, there's literally no skill scaling in this game, no skill-based matchmaking, because I've gone with players who had no idea how to farm crystals, and I saw players who were trying to destroy the iron walls with their assault rifles when you need high-powered raid weapons to do that, and I would just shoot them in the back of the head. I mean, look, you take advantage of the newbies as much as you can. Either way, I think the 5 versus 5 mode isn't going to save this game. It's done, it's cooked, the people's opinions have been made, and I think I give this game about maybe 6 months. We'll see. Like, Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. I forgot how long that lasted before they decided to pull the plug. I think it was a year because of the obligation for the deluxe edition. And there was also Marvel Rivals, which that game, not Marvel Rivals, Marvel's Avengers, I apologize, that tragedy of game. Marvel Rivals is actually a good game, and you can tell from the player counts for Marvel Rivals and Overwatch 2, which are significantly older. They're decimating Highguard at the moment, but Marvel's Avengers only lasted a year, and that was a literal Marvel game. And again, it was a premium title, but that title even couldn't survive, so I think this is the end. I think that they really don't have much left, and everyone who's tried the game and given up on it have just gone back to their safety game, whether it's Destiny 2, Arc Vaders, Warframe, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch 2, Apex Legends. It's done. Like, I just don't see it happening again, and I hate to be a downer when it comes to this, because I've seen people come into my chat and say they hope this game survives. I just don't see it. I don't. Like, unless they... I mean, crazier things are happening. There's always a percentage time that you can save things, but I just don't see this here, considering the how large the studio is, the fact they have to keep up with payroll, not to mention rent, office space, electricity, all that stuff. I just don't see it. But yeah, if you're hoping to try the 5 versus 5 mode, as someone who's played like 10 matches of it, it's not gonna change your opinion. It's done. It's cooked. But that's my point of view on it. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and like always, have a good day.